Hey guys, so I decided for my first couple of videos I am going to be ranking movies from franchises I loved as a kid and still do. So, much like the Barbie video that I've already made, which, by the way, if you have not seen, go watch it because it was a mind-melting journey and it deserves a bit of love. This is no ordinary tier list video. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to tell you guys my original ranking from when I was a kid versus the ranking that I have now as a big 20-year-old. But before we start, on a serious note, I do feel like I need to address something. I just want to come out here and right now and say that I do not agree in any way, shape or form with the person that wrote these books. I do not agree with her opinions on the LGBT plus community. I do not agree with her views on that matter. I don't. Those people are people too and they deserve equal rights just like anyone else. So with that out of the way, let's get started, shall we? Now, since all that's cleared up, let's jump straight into movie number 1, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Or Sorcerer's Stone if you're American and you don't know what the fuck that word means. The movie that started it all. If this is your favourite Harry Potter movie, I just want to ask, have you seen the rest of the movies? Because I genuinely don't believe that this is anyone's favourite Harry Potter movie. But if it is, good for you. I'm not judging. I was never the biggest fan, but if you are, good for you. The plot of this movie follows our main character Harry Potter, whose parents were killed when he was a baby, and up until the age of 11 he lived in the abusive household of his aunt and uncle. I need to close my fucking window. He lived in the abusive household of his aunt and uncle up until the age of 11, where he gets his letter from Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. In this movie he's basically just being introduced to the wizarding world. But Lord Voldemort, the person who killed Harry's parents, is back and wants to become immortal, come to full power again and kill Harry and just take over the whole wizarding world. I probably shouldn't have to describe the plot of these movies, but I probably will anyways in case people haven't seen these movies. I know people haven't. My best friend does not like these movies and she hasn't seen them. I see you people who haven't seen them, but how? Why? I really do love the opening of this movie. Oh my god, the lighting. Ah! I look like Voldemort with how pale I am. Oh my god. I love the opening of this movie. It opens with the night that Harry's parents got killed, which sounds really bad, I know, but hear me out. I will say though, it is really weird watching the opening of this movie knowing that 2 out of the 3 actors in the opening are dead. Cheery, I know, but I just love everything about the opening, the lighting and the music, the acting, everything. I will say though, the Deluminator always confused me, like what else does it do bar turn off lights? You know, I just... it's stupid. Robbie Coltrane's acting though, when he's saying goodbye to baby Harry, it makes me tear up every time. It's just like, my feelings! The abuse that Harry has to go through in the first movie, like at his aunt's and uncle's house, is genuinely heartbreaking. Like, it just isn't talked about enough. I know it's covered more in the books, but it just hurts. Like, for example, Harry sleeps in a cupboard. He doesn't even have his own fucking bedroom. He's threatened with no meals for a week if he does anything wrong on his cousin's birthday. A fucking week. He's pretty much used as a slave in this fucking house. He does the cooking, he does the cleaning, he does everything. And oh my god. Not to mention that his Aunt Petunia is such a toxic boy mom. Like, my little dirty blah 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 blah. Fight me. I'm sorry, I have such beef towards toxic boy moms. I can't stand it. Like, anything that goes wrong in these movies, like in the Muggle world at his aunt and uncle's house, is automatically Harry's fault. And it's just little things like that. It breaks it breaks my heart. He doesn't deserve that. Like, this boy lost his parents and his aunt and uncle are taking everything out on him. It's just not fair. This movie has its fair share of magical moments. Like, for example, the first one that comes to mind is when the house like floods with Hogwarts letters and like Harry's like on the table jumping up and down trying to catch them from the air as they're falling down, which I'm convinced is the moment that decided that he would be in Gryffindor and not Ravenclaw, because a Ravenclaw would have just picked one up from the ground and just let that be that. But for the sake of the movie and for it looking good, you know, we'll just pretend that, you know, that was the smart thing to do. The whole Diagon Alley sequence, Harry's wand choosing him, going through the platform to 9 3/4, just the Great Hall, like when they first enter it, the candles like floating the night sky on the ceiling. It's just little moments like that. It just fills your heart with like warmth. It's just such a cozy movie. It's just so comforting. This movie's just filled with magic despite the CGI of like the Quidditch match not being great. And that kind of takes away from it because they just look like PS2 characters in a game. But you know, just everything about it is so comforting. It's such an autumny, Christmassy movie, especially like the Halloween part of it and when they're in the dark forest doing detention. It's kind of scary, but it's still a really comforting movie. Like, I'd hate to be in their shoes in that fucking forest, but you know what? We move. Speaking of magic, I would love to know what I would see in the Mirror of Erised, because I, like off the top of my head, I cannot think of what I would see, and it would just be great to know like what I truly want in life, because I don't know. I guess I just don't know. Does anyone else feel like that? Does anyone else just like not know what they would see in the mirror? Anyways, I am a firm believer that the magic in this movie would not have been like as effective or captivating if John Williams did not do the score. Like, John Williams did the first 3 movies. Each of the movies, the music is chef's kiss. It's amazing. Who the fuck is texting me? Like, he did the first 3 movies, the score of the first 3 movies, like every iconic Harry Potter track that you probably know, whether you watch the movies or not, was probably John Williams' work. And honestly, I couldn't have picked anyone else. If it were up to me, I genuinely could not have picked anyone else better for the job than John Williams. Like, every time I hear Leaving Hogwarts, I get chills all over my body, all over my arms. I'm like, it's just, I want the feeling that track gives me tattooed on my body. I just... Even the music plays when they're playing the wizard chess, like the giant wizard chess scene, and like when he's facing Voldemort, I'm just like, it's just incredible. I love it so much. So after all that, I think this movie deserves a C tier, which is the same as my original ranking. Like, it's a good movie, but they just haven't found their footing yet. So, you know, it's just not as good as the rest of them. And honestly, that's okay. Next movie is my childhood favourite, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Now, I watched this movie religiously as a kid. It was my favourite Harry Potter movie. I watched it maybe once or twice a week, like every week. It was my favourite. That has since changed because I decided to be a big brave girl and actually watch the rest of them. This one is the longest Harry Potter movie, and upon rewatch this time, I genuinely felt how long it was, which never happened before because I loved this movie so much. But I couldn't do it. It was too long this time. Anyways, the main plot of this movie, Harry is warned not to go back to Hogwarts because there's a plot to make bad things happen. Harry goes back anyways, shit hits the fan, people are getting petrified because the heir Slytherin has returned to Hogwarts and has opened the Chamber of Secrets, unleashing the monster that lives within, which is on its way of purging the school from all those that are not worthy to study magic in the view of Salazar Slytherin. and by that I mean those who were born muggles. So yeah, bit of a wizarding racism going on. Love that. This movie is where they really started to find their feet. Like the CGI was better when they're playing Quidditch, and like the acting's better, and I feel like it's not constantly new information like it was in the first one, which like the first one it gets really annoying upon rewatch because it's just like new information constantly, but you already know it since you already watched it. So yeah, it's not constantly new information in this one, which makes it easier to watch, the less annoying, because I just don't like I guess I just don't like being told the same things over and over again. And the same thing goes for movies, even though I love rewatching movies I love. You get my point. It's my opinion. I know this movie is ungodly long, but I really do wish they kept in the deleted scenes, like you know, like the scene of Lucius and Draco in Nocturne Alley in Borgin and Burke's, just like Lucius hitting Draco with the cane. You could see that he's actually in pain. You feel bad for him because his dad is abusive, which makes sense why he's the way he is. Like, I love all the deleted scenes in this franchise, and I wish they were kept in every single movie, and I am a firm believer of that, and you're going to hear me talk about this throughout this video. I am just constantly going to be saying, I wish they kept this scene in, I wish they kept that scene in. Like, bear with me. Can we just have like a director's cut of all these movies with all the deleted scenes in them? I can die happy then. That's all I ask. I feel like this opinion would get me yelled at, but I don't like Dobby. Let me explain. In this movie, he just makes Harry's life a lot harder. Like, yeah, he's trying to protect him and everything, but as if being the boy who lived isn't hard enough without Dobby making it harder. Stops him from getting onto the platform. Fucking jinxes the bludgers, makes it go after nearly fucking killing him. Like, give him a break, Dobby. It's just this movie I don't like Dobby, and the rest of the movie he's fine. I love him in the other movies, but just this movie, no. Speaking of shit I hate, Scabbers. I fucking hate Ron's rat, Scabbers. Why have a rat as a pet? Especially a hand-me-down one from your dickhead of an older brother, Percy. I hate Percy. That's another thing you're going to be hearing me talk about in this video. I despise Percy. People who know me in real life will know that I will forever have beef with Scabbers the rat. He's literally a rat, and he is a rat metaphorically. So, enough said. Another thing I've realised since I've watched this movie again, the Eat Slugs curse would definitely be the worst feeling in the world. Like, when I was a kid, I was just like, oh no, haha, funny slugs, whatever, forget about it. But now I'm like, I would rather get crucioed than that happened to me. Yeah, I said it. Like, just seeing how unwell Ron looks in Hagrid's hut, I just... no. Anyone want ice cream? Just seeing how well Ron is in Hagrid's hut, the sounds as they come up, it's just like, bleh. I can actually feel it, so I better stop talking about it before I actually get sick. Just, no. Fun fact, I have a minophobia, so let's move on, shall we? Speaking of phobias, I hate, double hate, loathe entirely. I hate spiders. I can't stand them. They terrify me. They give me the creeps. Can someone explain to me why I loved the spider sequence so much as a child, and I still kind of do? If anyone can explain that, please let me know. I'd love to know. That being said, when I watch it now, I'm kind of like, no. But I love it. Like, the effects are incredible. Aragog looks so scary. It's just like, It's amazing. The sound design, I like the spiders like scurrying, it like gives me the, it just gives me the bleh, no, I don't like it. That being said, if I was in that situation, I'd be exactly like Ron. It's like, can we panic now? That would be me. Another thing I don't think is talked about enough in this movie is how scary it would be to be in Harry's shoes when he hears the basilisk speak for the first time. Like, when I watched this movie to, like, you know, excuse me. When I watched this movie again to get my, to take notes and do my ranking a bit again, I had subtitles on because I was eating, because I can't hear and eat at the same time. Don't ask me why, I just can't do it. And I was reading the subtitles as the basilisk was speaking, and it was just like, Kill, come to me. Like that shit. Like imagine just bopping along the corridors and just hearing that shit. Hard pass, thank you very much. Like imagine just like drifting off to sleep like in your dorm room and next, you know, just hearing that shit. Nah, no thank you. Like, I'm going home, thanks, bye. Not to mention, if you look that fucking thing in the eye, you're dead. That's it. There's no coming back from it. Like, that were me. I'd just be bopping along the corridors, heading back to my common room after having a fat meal in the Great Hall, happy out, turn the corner, boom, dead. That's it. Sorry. Bye-bye, see you later. I'm haunting this corridor for all eternity now, thank you very much. Like, no. No. Horrifying. Like, when I'm walking around my house at night after turning off all the lights, I run back to my bedroom first of all, and second of all, if I hear, even if there's nothing behind me, I'm like, because I hate the dark, I'm terrified of it. You guys are finding out so much about me today. I just want to go on record and say that young Tom Riddle, yes, I am one of those girls that finds young Tom Riddle extremely attractive. If villain bad, why sexy? That's all I'm gonna say. Speaking of sexy villains, Jason Isaacs as Lucius Malfoy, mwah, perfect casting. But he's just so fucking evil and cruel. It's just like, oh my god. Like, he was literally about to kill a 12-year-old boy for freeing his servant. Someone needs some fucking anger management. I do love the ending of this movie, like Hermione coming back after being cured from being petrified, the music that plays like when they reunite, Dumbledore cancelling all exams. What a king. I don't like Dumbledore, by the way. He's an awful person and I just really don't like him, but you know, we move on. Hagrid coming back, everyone applauding him, like it makes me tear up like crazy knowing that Robbie Coltrane is no longer with us, and it just watching that scene just makes me so emotional. It's just such a beautiful ending with like amazing music playing, John Williams. Yes, just everything John Williams does is just perfect. It's just such a beautiful ending. So, what am I giving this movie? Well, in the past I gave it a C, that being like 3 years ago, or like, what? In the past I've given it a C, which was like 3 years ago, but as a kid it would definitely have been an S. But I think I'm going to stick with a C since I really felt how long the movie was this time. Am I getting old? Is that what this is? And I just think I've tired myself out of this movie so much because it was the only one I owned for the longest time, so it was the only one I could watch because I didn't want to go down illegal routes either, and Netflix didn't have it. So, you know, I think I just tired myself out of this movie. So, C it is! Now on to a fan favourite, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. This is definitely one of the best movies in the entire franchise. It's just amazing in every way. Is it my favourite? No. Don't look at me like that, let me explain. Yes, it's almost a perfect movie, but it's just not a favourite of mine. But there is a lot to love about this movie. It's just not my favourite, okay? Please don't yell at me. First of all, I love to hate Marge. She is possibly the worst person she's possibly like the worst person like in this franchise. Like, she isn't as bad as Umbridge, but she is up there. Honestly, I don't blame Harry for storming out the way he did after that encounter, because if anyone spoke to me like that or talked about my parents like that, I'd be out of there faster than you could say fucking brilliant. I'm not kidding. I just want to say I am completely insufferable to watch this movie with, especially when it comes to the night bus scene, because I will quote the whole thing. I will quote this whole movie. Certain scenes in particular, but I will quote this whole movie. I am insufferable to watch this movie with. Like, night bus scene, the Marauders map scene, the Grim, all of it. I apologise for nothing though. Deal with it. Speaking of the night bus, I refuse to believe that Stan is canonically a Death Eater. Like, he had to have been under the Imperius curse or something, because I don't believe that that man could possibly be a Death Eater. It just makes no sense, and it's the only logical explanation that he was under the Imperius curse. Speaking of logical explanations, why the fuck did they do my boy Tom so dirty? They massacred my boy. Why? They should have kept him the way he was in the first movie. I hate it. No. I'm so happy we get cat content in this movie. Like, I love cats. I really love Crookshanks. He's just a furry baby and I love him so much. All the animals and all the animals in this movie realistically are just babies. I love them so much. I would so ace Care Magical Creatures, especially if Hagrid's teaching, so easy 8. But of all subjects, out of all the subjects that I think I'd enjoy the most, it would probably be divination. Just the way Professor Trelawney talks like throughout the class is the way that I feel whenever I give my friends tarot readings. I want to give you guys a quick reading. Might be a bit broad because there's a few people watching, so it won't be as specific, but let me know. Okay, let's see. The Eight of Swords. So this card is means bad news, but which is not great. Sorry guys. And for a woman it means rumors are being spread about you. Why is my camera dying? Oh my god, my life is so hard. I'll do another reading because I don't want to worry you guys. Okay, let's try again, shall we? Is there anything good for my viewers coming? Queen of Pentacles reversed. For those of you who don't know, depending on which way the card comes out, it can mean different things. This one's upside down, so it would mean something different if it was like this. So, let's see. Evil, suspicion, fear, and mistrust. Are you guys okay? I think that's enough of that because I don't want to terrify you guys. I could so teach divination because me and Professor Trelawney are just the same person. That being said, she was really scary when she went to that weird trance thing when she was talking about the prophecy where she like grabs Harry by the shoulder. But I don't think she was as scary as the Dementors, and I don't think I'm alone in that because the Dementors are fucking horrifying. Stay hydrated, guys. Also, I apologize if I sound a bit weird. I actually am a bit sick, so forgive me. I really do love this movie. It's just full of moments that make me giggle, like the fat lady breaking the glass with her voice. I have acted like that sometimes, and I have done things like that, as well as Ben, the black kid that just comes in and drops like the most intense lines in cinematic history of all time. Best cinematic performance of like the early 2000s. It's like trying to catch smoke with your bare hands. Like, oh, like, whoa. The director said cut, he thought that he said sir. I'm going to bleep that because I know I can't say that. There's so many interesting things in the wizarding world to think about, like what you might see in the Mirror of Erised or what your boggart would be. I personally have no idea what it would be for me. Like, I just have no idea. Like, the obvious thing would be spiders, but would it really be that though? Because I don't think that's what I truly fear, you know? I love the whole boggart sequence, but like the things that they turn the boggarts into after they say ridiculous are arguably more scary than what the boggart was originally. Like, take for example Ron's boggart, right? Big giant black widow spider, terrifying, right? He says ridiculous, suddenly it has roller skates on. To me, if there's something more scary than a giant spider, is a giant spider with no control of its legs. Is that just me? Quidditch seems like a really fun sport to play, but I don't think I would want to play it in the conditions that they did in this movie. When you think about it, both Harry and Cedric almost fucking died in this match. Just want to go on record and say that's not my Cedric when I say I'm in love with Cedric. No, not that one. The next one in the next movie. Yeah, fun fact, that's actually Cedric Diggory, the seeker of the Hufflepuff Quidditch team. Best house. I will not be arguing that. The acting is really good in this movie too. What really sticks out to me is when Harry finds out Sirius Black is his godfather, and he tells Ron and Hermione that he wants to kill him. You can see the pain in Daniel Radcliffe's eyes. It's just like, oh my god. Like, the acting is just incredible. I think that's definitely one of the moments in this franchise where, like, Daniel Radcliffe really showed his talented acting. Like, oh my god. It's just so fucking powerful to me. Do you guys ever think what memory you would use for your Patronus? Because they say you're meant to use the happiest memory you can think of. I genuinely don't know what I would choose, because I have a lot of happy memories, but I don't know if they would be strong enough. It's just something to think about, you know? I remember when I read the book as a kid and it came to like the time travel sequence with the time turner, I remember being so fucking confused. Because how old was I when I read this book? I'd say I was maybe 7 when I read this book. I was a bit of a stupid kid, so I was so confused when Harry said he saw his dad and his dad conjured the Patronus. I was like, his dad's fucking dead, what the fuck? Like, I was so confused. And it wasn't until I watched the movie, like after I read the book, I was like, oh, okay. But I was just a stupid kid. I love watching like that whole like time travel sequence in the movie, but like the more you think about it, the less it makes sense. So I ultimately just try not to think about it too much. I still wish they killed Peter Pettigrew, because then so much could have been avoided. Like, a lot of the bad stuff that happens in the franchise probably would not have happened if they just killed the rat. Kill the rat! Kill the rat! He's one of the worst characters. I will always have beef with him, in rat form and in human form. No. So, from memory, I had this movie in the B tier, but, hold your horses. I am older and a bit more well-rounded now, so obviously it does not belong in the B tier anymore. It's an obvious S tier movie. Don't worry guys, I've matured. I know it's an excellent movie, but is it my favourite? No. But it's still a great movie. Oh god, the stands are gonna kill me. Water. Water. That was attractive. That's not going in. Okay, it might. Next being my personal favourite, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. This is one of my favourite movies in the franchise. It may not be everyone's favourite, but it's mine, and I'm okay with that. Okay, first thing I want to say The opening theme for this movie goes really hard. I think it might be my favourite out of all of them. The whole opening sequence is really good too. Like the Riddle House, the murder, like it's just so cold. He just murdered the groundskeeper without fucking hesitation. I wonder did they dispose of the body? I don't know. I'm gonna try not to think about that too much. We get introduced to my husband, the love of my life, in this one. Mr. Cedric Diggory, played by the gorgeous Robert Pattinson. He's fucking Batman now. He's the most beautiful man in the wizarding world. He's probably the reason I love this movie so much now that I actually think about it. And the fact that we actually get some Hufflepuff representation, which lacks severely throughout all the movies. So you know what? We deserve representation too, okay? Mini rant here. It really annoys me that like Hufflepuff and Ravenclaw get pushed aside when it comes to these movies, because like you don't see a lot of representation, and even then, spoiler alert, the one good representation we have gets fucking killed at the end of this movie. Like, why? And even then, when it comes to like merch and stuff, like when like Pennies or Primark or whatever gets like Harry Potter merch in every now and again, they lack Hufflepuff and Ravenclaw. They never have enough. Because it's always like Gryffindor and Slytherin, yeah, whatever. But like, word. You kind of have to go to the official merch stores to get stuff. Like, as a Hufflepuff, I know what the fuck I'm talking about, and it's actually really hard to come by. And even if they do have, like, Ravenclaw and Hufflepuff merch, it's not nice merch. So, basically, your best chance is to go to the official merch stores, but that's, like, really expensive. So, as a Hufflepuff myself, I know what the fuck I'm talking about. Speaking of representation in this movie, the Irish get a bit of representation. Yay! Not only are we playing at the Quidditch World Cup, but we fucking win the Quidditch World Cups. Like, yes. I love Ireland. It really doesn't get a lot of representation in media or movies. And even though when we do get represented, it's usually very stereotypical, and even then, very harmful and wrong stereotypes. I don't think the media realises that they don't try hard enough to capture Irish culture in a proper way. They just see us as people that drink a lot and we're ginger and we have funny accents, and it's like, ooh, leprechauns, green, blah blah blah. Like, do better. That being said, the representation that we have in this movie isn't great either. Oh Jesus, very Irish to me. It isn't amazing because when you're watching the Quidditch World Cup sequence, there's a background when the Irish team's like getting introduced. A banner in the back that says top of the morning. I don't know who needs to know this, but like no one in Ireland says that ever. No one says that. I don't know who needs to hear this in 2023, but no one in Ireland says top of the morning. Also, when the Irish Quidditch team gets introduced, there's like fireworks or whatever, great. But then the fireworks turn into this like leprechaun or very stereotypically dressed Irish person, and it starts like dancing. I would be okay with that if they even bothered to make it do proper Irish dancing. But they don't. It's just it kind of jumping around and like kicking its legs. That's not Irish dancing. I can't Irish dance, so I'm not going to demonstrate. But if you're going to do that, either do it properly or don't do it at all. At that point, I'd rather just like have the fireworks turn into shamrocks or something. Okay, that rant over because I'm just do better, Hollywood. That being said though, everything Seamus Finnegan, our Irish character, says in this movie makes me laugh. So Yeah, but we need better representation in media. This is the first movie where the score isn't done by John Williams. It may not be John Williams, but I really do enjoy the score of this movie still. Like, excuse me, sir, do you mind? But the score is still really good. Oh, by the way, should also be noted that I am also insufferable to watch this movie with too. I quote literally every second line, but if I am watching this with people who don't like me doing that, I will mouth the words. I don't like mouthing the words, but I'll do it anyways. Speaking of insufferable, I also know the dance the Beauxbatons do when they come to Hogwarts. I actually know the dance. That being said, about the Beauxbatons introduction, why the ass shot? There is no need for an ass shot. Why was there an ass shot? I do love the first class with Professor Moody. I love his introduction. It's like, ooh, it's like, how do I put it? Not threatening, it's like, it's intense. His introduction's really intense. But I do really love it, the first class, like, that we have with him. But I do feel really bad for Neville when he starts doing the Cruciatus Curse on the little, like, spider bug thingy, and Neville's, like, very clearly upset by this. Honestly, if I was there, I would have done exactly what Hermione did. So, yeah, other than that, it's a really good scene. Also, Ron pisses me off throughout this whole movie. Like, honestly, it's this point in the franchise where I begin to really dislike Ron. He does something in every movie that pisses me off a lot. Like, he just does something in every movie that pisses me off so much. Like, in this one, he's mad at Harry, despite Harry telling him he didn't put his name in the Goblet of Fire. Like, he didn't do it. Why don't you believe him? If you're best friends, believe him. Like, I'd be questioning my friendship if, like, I told my best friend, if my best friend asked me, did you do this? And if I told them no, and if they didn't believe me, I'd be questioning the friendship. Like, when has Harry ever lied to Ron? Like, tell me. Ugh. Like, despite Harry telling him, he's still acting like a man baby. Also, the way he treats Hermione later on in the movie, like, as well as laughing at, like, another girl's weight in, like, the scene where, like, McGonagall's teaching them to dance. He's just such a pig in this movie. I hate him so much. One of my favourite moments in this movie is not the same as it is in the book. In the book, Dumbledore asks Harry, did you put your name in the Goblet of Fire? Dumbledore asked calmly. In the movie, Dumbledore fucking grabs Harry by the shoulders and, like, almost shakes him. He's like, Harry, did you put your name in the Goblet of Fire? No, sir. Are you absolutely sure? Like, he fucking nearly roundhouses his ass. Like, oh my god, calm down. Like, hold on. Whoa. It will never not be funny to me, because every time it happens, all I can think of is Dumbledore asked calmly. Like, that's all I can think of. Like, that moment has been memed the shit out of. And honestly, I'm not sorry. I love it so much. Since we're introduced to many characters in this movie, there's one character in particular I want to talk about. That bug-eyed bitch, Rita Skeeter. I genuinely cannot stand her. I actually hate her more than Voldemort. However, I do not hate her more than Professor Umbridge. I don't think I can hate anyone more than I hate her. But more on that later. Rita Skeeter is just the personification of everything that's wrong with the media. She deliberately changes the stories to make it more interesting, even though it's not the truth. She spreads, like, misinformation. For example, Harry's age. She also attacks minors in her stories. Like, for example, Hermione, like, she writes all this false stuff about her and, like, takes a picture of her hugging Harry and twists it into something else. But when we know what actually happened when Harry hugs Hermione, she's just really scared for him and she just wants to wish him luck. Like, I can't stand her. Not to mention she's really creepy towards Harry when she like pushes him into the broomstick cover to like interview him, and it's like ooh. Oh my god. Oh no. I just jump scared myself. Not to mention she's really creepy towards Harry when she like pushes him into the broom cover to interview him. She's like, this is cozy, and he's like, it's a broomstick cover. It's like, well, you should feel right at home then. Like, excuse me, ma'am, who the fuck do you think you are? Like, like, and when he doesn't reciprocate this like weird comment thing, she just goes straight to like insulting him and talking down to him. It's just like, what is wrong with you? Speaking of things being bad and things being made worse, when Sirius talks to Harry through the fireplace, Sirius was no fucking help. If anything, he made matters worse by scaring Harry. He was like, oh, people die in these tournaments. Oh, by the way, headmaster of Durmstrang was a former Death Eater. No one just stops being a Death Eater. Like, excuse me? You're meant to be helping me, and instead you're giving me all this like information that's making it worse, and you don't even try to help me? Like, honestly, I'd never go to Sirius for help ever again. I don't think I could do it. I'm sorry. If anyone did that to me, that'd be the last time I'd ever go to them for help. I just want to say that I would 100% listen to Neville talk about plants. Because like in this movie, they're so mean to him. Because like Neville is just like super excited about his plants, and they're like, Neville, I really don't care. It's like, let him talk about his plants. I'd listen to him talk about his plants because like, you know what? Have you ever actually watched someone as they're talking about something they really like they just have this look on their face where you could tell they're really happy and they're just so excited to be talking about the thing that they really like? I let whoever talk about things they love because I know it makes them happy, and I just want to make their day by letting them talk about the thing that they really like, because I feel like when it comes to people, they don't like talking about the things that they like because they're afraid they're boring people. But I'm like, no, I'm going to listen to what you have to say, even though it may not interest me at all, but I will listen because I want these people to be happy. So I would listen to Neville talk about plants. Take notes, people. That's how you be a good friend. I just want to make my friend's day, okay? In contrast to what I said about being nice, I spend majority of this movie making fun of Cho. She just annoys me in so many ways, and no, I will not apologize. It's like, 2 pumpkin pasties, please. Like, I don't know, she just really annoys me. I can't think of other Cho lines. Okay, never mind. But like, fuck off with your pumpkin pasties, alright? When it comes to this movie, the Yule Ball is my everything. I love the whole sequence of like the Yule Ball, from like McGonagall teaching Gryffindor House to dance, the boys trying to get their dates, and then the actual ball itself. I love it so fucking much. It's also funny to think about that the head of each house has to teach like their houses to dance. Like, imagine Snape teaching all the Slytherins how to dance. Here's another one for you. Flitwick is the head of Ravenclaw House. Enjoy that image. However, I will say though, they did people so dirty when it came to costumes for the Yule Ball. Like, there's Ron, for example. Yeah, they're poor. He needs hand-me-downs or whatever, but like, yikes. Even Ginny, like, I remember I used to love Ginny's dress when I was a kid because I thought it was really cute. But now watching it now, it's like, she looks like she's 7 in it. I hate it so much. And like, it's just, no, absolutely not, no. But I think the people they done the most dirty is the twins, Parvati and Padma Patil. They butchered their costumes so fucking badly. Like, they they went for the stereotypical look of their culture, but they didn't bother to like make it accurate in any way, shape or form. It looks so bad. Like, I've seen fan art of what it should have been, like, sorry, what fan art of what the fans wanted it to be, and it just looks so much better. They would have looked absolutely stunning. It's just, no, it's not a look. It wasn't a serve. It just wasn't it. No, it could have been so great, but it just wasn't. I remember the first time I watched this movie and Hermione came down those stairs at the U-Ball, my jaw dropped. She looked beautiful. She looked like an absolute fucking princess, and she fucking deserves that. Like, oh, she looked so beautiful. Yes, I know there was uproar about her dress not being blue like it was in the books, and I kind of wish that the movie did stay true to the book, but you know what, for what we got, it looked amazing and I'm really happy with it. Part of me wishes that it stayed true to the book, you know. Reason I lost count a long time ago of why I hate Ron. I will never forgive him for the way that he treated Hermione at the Yule Ball. It's just the fact he went ahead and ruined her night because she went with Victor Krum because Krum asked her first, and Ron was being a big man baby about it because he didn't ask Hermione in time, and he had to go ahead and spoil everything for her. He was the biggest prick in the world for that. Like, she had her Cinderella moment on the stairs where like she was walking down the stairs looking so beautiful. Krum came up to her, kissed her hand and like led her to the ballroom. Like, she was so happy. She was so happy dancing with everyone else. And then when she came up to Harry and Ron to talk to them, like, oh, like, Victor's getting us drinks, do you want to join us? Being a sweetheart, like inviting them. And then Ron's like, no, you're fraternizing with the enemy. And like just ruining your night, being like, he's too old for you, this. And like, oh my god, I genuinely cannot put it into words. And the fact her night ended with her crying at the end of the stairs on her own. Ron did that to her. He is the worst person in the world for that. No one deserves their fucking night to end like that, especially if it's like a ball, prom, whatever it is. No one deserves that. And if you're a guy and you know you call something like that, you're dead to me. Now that that's off my chest, let's swiftly move on, shall we, before I actually punch something. I would give my left tit for a chance to take a bath in the prefect's bathrooms. Like, I just love how the place looks. The stained glass with the mermaid on it, like the weird fountain thing that like puts like the water into the bath itself, like the way the bubbles are like perfect all along the top, the way there's little bubbles like floating around, like, oh, just put me there, put on a bit of relaxing music, let me like lay there, I can die happy. It really gave me the ick of how creepy Myrtle was when Harry was in the bath, and it's even worse when you know that the actress that played her is like 40 years old. Like, enjoy that nightmare fuel. I do love the mermaid song as the clue inside the dragon egg. Like, every time I watch this I do sing along with it. It's just, oh, I love it so much. I'm really just giving you guys reasons to want to never watch movies with me ever. Speaking of underwater stuff, the second task is kind of scary when you think about it. Like, think about it. One of, if not the most dear person in your life is taken and put to sleep, and they're hidden underwater in a giant lake filled with God only knows what, mermaids, weird creatures, and one of them being a giant squid. They're put there for an hour, and your job is to go down, search the giant lake, find them, and bring them up before the hour is out. And if you don't find them, chances are they are going to drown. I don't know about you guys, but I don't think I trust anyone to save me within the hour. Like, I'm sorry to my friends and boyfriend that are probably watching this, but no. I don't want to drown. It's like one of the worst ways to die. I'd rather not. The last task is terrifying. It's like a giant maze, like really high up. You can't jump or see over anything. And then the second the maze closes in, you can't hear the crowds or anything. And God knows what is in the maze. It really gives me the creeps. And I hate eerie silences. I just can't do it. When Harry and Cedric find the cup and grab it and they're transported to the graveyard, every time I watch this movie, I watch and pray and I hope that they just go straight back to the cup like Harry first says. But no, just so there can be no harm done. But that's never the case. It's the same when I watch the prequels in Star Wars. I pray he doesn't turn to the dark side, but he does. Oh God. It's never the case, unfortunately. Cedric's death hurts me, but never straight away though. It builds up and then it just hits me at a very specific moment. Those who have seen this film can probably guess when, and those who know me personally know when I just lose control of my eyes. I really do have a particular love-hate relationship with the graveyard sequence. I love it, but it rips me apart. Particularly when Harry faces Voldemort and their wands connect, and then you see all the souls that Voldemort's wand has taken. It just... I tear up when Cedric tells Harry to take his body back to his father. Then when Harry's parents start speaking to him, it just... the lump in the throat happens. And then like when Lily says, "Sweetheart, you're ready. Let go!" It's right there. I'm like choking on it. You're probably wondering exactly when I lose it. Hold on, I'm not done. Harry brings the body back and they go back to the stands, like where the crowd is. Cedric's on the floor, Harry's like over him and like crying. You're probably wondering where exactly it is when I lose it. Hold on, I'm not done. Harry brings the body back from the graveyard and they end up by the stands where everyone is. The crowd's going ham, the band is playing because like they're all celebrating because they think both of them came back with the cup. But then you realise Harry's bawling his eyes out. And then he says, "He's back, Voldemort's back. He asked me to bring his body back, I couldn't leave him not there." Then Cedric Stas like burst out from the crowd. And the acting, it gets me every time. It's just the way he says it. He goes, "That's my son! That's my boy!" Like through fucking tears. And it breaks me every time, between the acting, the music that's playing, and I can't. It's that point I lose control over my eyes and I can't take it anymore. It's just like, I never cried at this movie when I was younger, but every time I watch it now I at least tear up. It might not be full waterworks every time, it just depends on how long it's been since I've watched it, but yeah, no, because like the first time I watched this movie, like after years, so I didn't own it for so long, I was gifted all the Harry Potter DVDs by my now boyfriend before we started dating, so I watched them all within that week, and by the time I got to this one and that scene happened, I was bawling. I was crying for the rest of the movie. I could not control myself because it's been about 3 years since I watched it, and I was just a mess. Luckily when I watched it this time, it was only like a couple months since I watched it, so it was okay. It was only tears in my eyes this time. It wasn't full blown waterworks. Cedric's funeral is really sad as well. but I really do like the speech that Dumbledore gives of like how no matter where you're from, what language you speak, grief is a real thing and like we all feel it and we're all only human. It's just wow. Despite the next 4 movies getting progressively darker, this one does end on a positive note, which I do appreciate, but just wow. This movie when I was younger, like as a kid, probably an A tier. As of a couple of years ago, an S tier. And now still an S tier. Nothing's changed. I love this movie so much. It's definitely my favourite in like this whole franchise. Moving on to Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. I usually really like this movie, but for some reason when I watched it this time I just wasn't having it. I was not in the mood for it. So there was a lack of notes, so I probably won't be talking about this movie as much as what I normally would because just lack of notes like I said, but I'll try my best anyways. And I still gave it a fair ranking, I think. The opening of this movie is really sad. I feel really bad for Harry because Dudley and his goons are picking on him and just telling him like, oh, is your mom dead? Is your mom dead? Like, oops. I'd slap him. It's just cheap shots. Not fair. That being said though, when they're running from the rain, Dudley runs really funny. I love when the Order come to Privet Drive to get Harry. We see Moody again. We meet Tonks for the first time. Side note, she's actually one of my favourite characters and I really wish she had more screen time, but oh well. I love the whole flight of the Order of the Phoenix and everything, the music, just how it looks. It just looks so good. I love it. I hate how they kept Harry in the dark the whole summer. Like, he went the whole summer without a fucking scrap of news. Dumbledore made his friends swear not to tell him anything. Like, that's awful. Like, if it were me, I wouldn't be able to cope because I just hate being out of the loop. I don't like when people don't tell me things, especially when it's deliberate. Like, I just no I just don't want to feel like an idiot. And I feel for Harry when he finds out that his friends just haven't been telling him stuff. I feel really bad for him. Honestly, a big fear of mine is people not believing me when I'm telling the truth and people thinking I'm crazy. So I definitely would not be able to cope if I was in Harry's shoes in this movie. Like, he's being slandered by the media. Everyone thinks he's lying about Voldemort coming back. Everyone thinks Cedric Diggory's death is an accident, not a murder. No one believes Voldemort's back, and like everyone is just not believing Harry. Everyone's giving him dirty looks. Just lies being spread. No thank you. I'd rather not that be me. I couldn't. No way. Speaking of that, the scene where Seamus confronts Harry, it will always make me laugh. Just everything Seamus says in every single movie makes me laugh. He just sounds so Irish all the time with his like Dublinish accent. Is he from Dublin? He's either from Dublin or somewhere near Dublin, maybe like Kildare or something, I don't know. But it's just very funny and it hits so close to home when he says in the most Irish accent you can ever imagine, "Don't you dare talk to my mother like that." Just the way he says it, it's like, oh, I can hear it. I'm home. I don't like Dublin though. Fake capital. On a less funny note, however, we are introduced to the worst person in this entire fan base. She's hated more than Voldemort himself. Like, she's hated more than the main villain of this whole fucking franchise. Like, this is how bad this person is. Ugh, she's just so infuriating and I cannot stand her. We are introduced to Dolores Jane Umbridge, or as I like to call her, Umbitch. She is everyone's nightmare teacher. I'm pretty sure everyone has had a teacher where they remind them of this character. She is just... She uses outdated teaching methods, medieval punishments, thinks she's on the same level as a headmaster even though she's not. Oh god. Also, I hate how her signature colour is pink. She wears head to toe pink. Her office is pink, 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 pink with pictures of cats on the wall. She is a disgrace to the colour pink. We do not claim her. Only people that are nice like me and, you know, normal people should be able to enjoy the colour pink. I said what I said. We don't claim her. But credit where it's due, her theme is a bit of a banger and it just encapsulates her perfectly. Also, the emphasis that's put on the OWL exams, it reminded me so much of the Irish Leaving Cert. It's just this big exam at the end of like secondary school or high school, whatever you want to call it. And so much emphasis is put on this like one exam that like I'm just so happy I never have to do it again and I'm in college and I just don't have to worry about it. I really do like the music in this movie, like Umbridge's theme, the fireworks scene where Fred and George like set off all the fireworks, the Dumbledore's army. It's all so good. This movie is where I draw the line with Cho. I feel slightly bad for her because her boyfriend's just after being killed and Umbridge is threatening to sack her mother at the Ministry of Magic. But I will always be mad at her for kissing Harry in front of her dead boyfriend's picture. How could she? If it were me and I was dating the beautiful man that is Robert Pattinson or Cedric Diggory in this case, I would never move on. And if I did, I wouldn't do that. Like, oh my god, how would you have a heart? No. That's what happens when I get worked up. We also get introduced to new characters such as Bellatrix Lestrange. She has such an iconic introduction. Like, when you first see her, she's in Azkaban prison and she has the dark mark on her hand. She is licking the dark mark and then they get busted out of Azkaban. I don't know, it just shows her unhingedness and her loyalty to like the dark side. It's just like, ugh. But yeah, the wall like breaks and she gets out and her laugh is just such like an evil cackle. I love it so much. And then like transitions to like the newspaper with like the mass breakout story and like a picture of Bellatrix like chained up and like screaming. It's just like, ooh, I love her. She's so iconic. Like, Helena Bonham Carter did an amazing job. I genuinely do not think that anyone else could have played Bellatrix Lestrange as well as she did. Like, ah, I love her so much and no one else could do any better. I just want to point out for this movie, I still hate Percy Weasley. I've hated him this whole time since he became such a dickhead in the third movie where he was like, excuse me, I'm head boy. Like, no. But now he just works for the Ministry and he's just a massive dickhead. Like, no. Anyways, there is still some iconic lines in this movie, like when Umbridge and the Minister want to like arrest Dumbledore for forming Dumbledore's army even though he didn't. Kingsley, after Dumbledore escapes, he's like, you may not like a minister, but you can't deny Dumbledore's got style. That line just makes me giggle every time. And the twins, they're just iconic as always with their cheeky one-liners. Speaking of the twins, it really warms my heart in that one scene where you see them comforting like a little like first year, I think, after he served detention with Umbridge where he used the blood quills. If you haven't seen the movie and you don't know what that is, basically whatever you write with that quill cuts into your hand. So basically the tension is writing with those things, like, I don't know, I must not tell lies, that'll get scratched into your hand, you know. The first year is obviously crying because it's very painful, and the twins are just comforting him. It's just so sweet and so cute. I love that scene so much. I also love the whole sequence in the Department of Mysteries. Like, it's just so cool seeing all like the prophecies like on the shelves along the floor, and like when they start fighting the Death Eaters and they start falling off the shelves and like breaking it, they just look so cool when they break, and then all the shells like start collapsing, all the prophecy of breaking and falling. It just looks so cool, and I love the battle between all the Death Eaters. I really wish that Sirius didn't die, but you know, it is what it is. It's just Daniel Radcliffe's acting there as well, like with the scream. Like, if you guys have ever listened to the unmuted version of it, like, the scream is just so heartbreaking. It's like, whoa. Like, the scream is just so powerful. It just, I don't even have the words for it. It's just so blood curdling. I feel like I could definitely say more about this movie, but due to my lack of notes, I cannot right now. So thanks, Past Kiki, very helpful. Anyways, from memory, this was an A-tier movie, but upon rewatch, I'm really not sure. I feel like you have to be in a very specific mood for this movie, which I wasn't at the time. So I think I'm gonna like up it down to the B tier. Maybe next time I review these again, like 6 years from now, it might be an A tier again. Who fucking knows? But as for now, it's downgraded to the B tier. Next, we're on to Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. This was definitely one of my least favourites. I just always found it boring. But since I haven't watched it in absolutely ages, maybe my opinion has changed. So who knows? So let's see, shall we? The start of it's pretty dark when you consider that the Death Eaters made that bridge collapse in London and probably killed loads of people, and they just don't bat an eyelid about it. But then again, they are evil, so you know. But like, it's just kind of like, ugh, you know. This is the first time we actually see Harry with any amount of Riz. Like, last time we had any chance of seeing Harry with Riz was in the Goblet of Fire, but then they were all too awkward. They had shit haircuts. It just wasn't good. And honestly, I'm here for it. Harry has got that Riz, and I would probably fall for it. Dumbledore had to be a cock block and take Harry and apparate away with him. Although it is funny seeing Daniel Radcliffe stand next to Michael Gambon because he's just so fucking short. Daniel Radcliffe is a short king, and we love and appreciate him. Speaking of apparating, they say most people vomit their first time apparating. I would most definitely vomit for my first time apparating, because your girl has motion sickness. Though I never had it as a kid. It only just came on in the last couple of years, and it makes me really sad, but no thank you. I'd rather travel by broom or by Floo powder. Thank you very much. I'd rather not. And like, Harry literally ends up in a pond after apparating. Like, he's just in a pond by the burrow, like shoes and socks soaking wet. I'd rather not have that happen to me, because wet shoes, wet socks, wet feet, no. Sensory nightmare. Can't do it. We're introduced to Horace Slughorn in this movie, and honestly, I love him. Big granddad energy, especially with like those pajamas or like robes that he's wearing when we first like see him in the Muggle house, where he's disguised as like as an armchair or something. Honestly, that being said, the clean-up scene of the trashed house is so satisfying. I wish tidying was that easy in real life. Like, I wish I was a witch. Well, technically I am. I wish I was a witch in this universe so I can just wave my wand, everything would go back to being perfectly nice and neat. You guys can't say, but there's clothes fucking everywhere that I just haven't put away yet, so I really wish I could just wave the wand and just have everything be perfect. Dumbledore is such a manipulator in this movie, and I really don't like it. He manipulates Horace into coming back to Hogwarts to teach by dangling Harry in front of him, and like, it's so clear he does not want to go back to Hogwarts to teach. Like, ugh. And then later on he gets Harry to fucking he gets Harry to manipulate Slughorn into giving him the untampered memory as well. Like, I really do not like this man. This movie really does make the Draco Malfoy Sims happy. We get a lot more Draco Malfoy content in this movie. But honestly, I'm here for Narcissa and Bellatrix content. I love seeing the two of them interact, especially when they go see Snape in the house and Narcissa gets Snape to do the unbreakable vow. It's just, wow. I love it so much. The idea of the unbreakable vow is really scary. Like, if you make that vow and break it, you're dead. Like, imagine being a stupid teenager and making an unbreakable vow with someone. You're both fucking dead. Like, think of if you ever broke a promise to anyone. Imagine if that was an unbreakable vow. We'd all be fucked. We'd all be dead. That includes me. Scary shit, man. I love that Fred and George also started their joke shop. I love the interior of it. It looks so cool, looks so fun. It's very them. I really like the stand or like display that they have for like the love potions, but I do not like the idea of love potions in this universe. They don't cause actual love, they just cause obsession and infatuation, and they're basically date rape drugs. So, and the fact that they're so easily accessible and you can just buy them in a joke shop, no, I'm good. Hard pass from me, thank you very much. You know what I really want from this movie though? I would love to get a copy of the Quibbler, and I'd love a tiny little Pygmy Puff as well. Like, I would just love to be able to read like all the weird and cool stuff that's in like an edition of like the Quibbler. The closest thing I ever had to it was like, I took the front and back cover, I took a picture of the front and back cover of the Quibbler and glued them together because I needed them as a prop, because for our Junior Cert English we had to do our CBAs, which is just goes towards our grade. We had to do like a play, and we did the scene from Order of the Phoenix where Luna is in the carriage with the Thestrals, and I had to play Luna. So I had to have my copy of the Quibbler, hold it upside down and all that stuff. But yeah, that's the closest thing I ever got to owning an actual copy of the Quibbler. And then a Pygmy Puff is just a weird magical animal that is just like really cute. So what's not to love? I want all magical creatures. I love all animals. I need them all. Pansy Parkinson really annoys me in this movie. She always has, but she just really gets under my skin in this movie. Like, she just really gets under my skin in this movie and the last few movies as well. But like, the actress who plays her is really pretty, a lot better than the one who played her in Prisoner of Azkaban. But that does not excuse her actions. She's still just so annoying. All I ask for is for once, can Seamus Finnegan, the Irish character, not get blown up for once? Like, yes, I know these books were written in the 90s, but like, it's just the fact that the one Irish character is obsessed with fire and blowing things up, and these books were written in the 90s. Given the state of things, not very tasteful. Then again, we all know how the author of these books are for stereotypes. Anyways, I really, really hate Cormac in these movies. He's just such a creep. He's so weird, and just the fact that he won't leave Hermione alone, it's just, ew, no, I hate it. Stop. Go away. He's definitely the worst boy in the franchise. I said what I said. Can we talk about Katie Bell being like cursed for a minute? I know it's meant to be like super serious and like, oh my god, what's happening, but just the way they shot it, it just looks really funny, especially when she's in the air like this and she's just like, ah, it's just so funny to me. Then again, like, is it just me? I think it's just so goofy looking and so like unserious that it just kind of takes away from it, you know? I feel really bad for Hermione though throughout this whole movie, because it is really hard seeing the person you like be with someone else, and it really does tear you apart. And I've been there, and they just really have it down to a T. Like, just poor Hermione. It would be so easy to take the piss out of Lavender Brown, but I'm not gonna do that. Because yes, truth be told, being in love, it does make you a bit delulu. And like, guys, if the girl you're talking to now seems normal, the second you guys make it official, it's like a switch that flicks in the brain, and then she's just the weirdest and wildest person you know. I'm telling you, a lot of girls do that, and my boyfriend wasn't expecting it, and yeah, she'll just be very weird. In a good way, I promise. just a heads up. Tonks and Remus appear in this movie again, and I really wish we could see more Tonks, but you know, we got what we got. Speaking of wishing for things, I really wish they gave Ginny a bit more of a personality. Like, book Ginny, incredible, we love her, she's a badass. But in this movie, there's just nothing to go with. And it's kind of annoying, because considering Ginny's like my favourite character in this whole franchise, it's kind of sad seeing that like a lot of her personality was taken out of the movies. But you know what? Whatever. The Burrow burning down was so unnecessary. Like, it was such a low blow. For what reason wasn't necessary? Honestly, fair fucks to Harry for running out into that field after Bellatrix. If it were me, my hay fever would cripple me. I would be blind and sneezing constantly. I wouldn't be able to see or anything. Like, I'd literally be a sitting duck in that situation. Also, what is this movie's obsession with putting characters in water with like their shoes, socks and everything on? Like, Ginny's literally standing in a pond in her fucking pajamas. Like, is this just like, this movie is just an entire sensory nightmare to me. Another thing, I really do not like the casting for young Voldemort in this movie. I think they should have stuck with the guy who played young Voldemort in Chamber of Secrets, because it said that young Voldemort was meant to be really good looking, really persuasive, really charming, very charismatic. With the casting in Chamber of Secrets, that's believable. He is handsome. But in this one, I don't see it. He's not that good looking. He's like greasy looking. He's not good looking. He would not be persuasive in any way, shape or form. It just doesn't work. I just wish they stuck with the casting of Chamber of Secrets. It would have worked so much better in my opinion. I said what I said. Ron gets love potioned in this movie. It's very fucking funny because he's just so out of it and he has no idea what's going on. Like, it's no joke. I'm in love with her. Alright, you're in love with her. Have you ever actually met her? No. Can you introduce me? Like, just that whole interaction makes me laugh every time. Harry brings him to Slughorn for an antidote. Ron is just walking around not knowing what the fuck's going on. He sits like on the back of a couch and falls straight off. That wasn't scripted, by the way. That was a mistake, but they left it in because it was really funny. But you can see what I mean when I say it's pretty much a date rape drug, giving the way how Ron was acting. It's really scary, and those things are very dangerous, obviously. And Ron gets poisoned in that same fucking scene. It was by accident, of course, but like, it's really scary. I wouldn't know what to do in that situation. I would have just stood there like Slughorn, like, what the fuck? What the fuck do I do? Like, ugh, no thanks. I have such a fear of people like choking or vomiting or anything. It's just, No. I can't watch a lot of scenes in movies, in case you can't tell, because I'm sensitive to blood too. Another scene that brings me joy is when Ron's in the hospital recovering from being poisoned and Lavender tries to tell Hermione that she has no right to be there. Like, girl, get a grip. You've been dating for a couple months now. Hermione's been friends with him for like 5 years. If anything, like, you have no leg to stand on in saying that. Like, I'm sorry. I love how all the teachers react in that scene as well. Like, Slughorn's like, oh, I shouldn't be hearing this. Snape is just there like... And then Dumbledore is like quietly living for the drama. And it's like, oh, to be young and feel love's keen sting. I don't like Dumbledore, but that scene just gives me life. Harry on Liquid Luck is definitely like the best part of this movie. Like, I think it's like just the peak part of the movie for me. Everything he says makes me smile. It just reminds me of how I am when I get notions. Like when Harry says, I have a good feeling about Hagrid's. I feel like it's the place to be tonight. Do you know what I mean? And then everyone else is like, no. My friends have literally done that to me. My boyfriend has said that to me. I'd have notions. And then they just be like, I feel like I'd be dangerous if I had Liquid Luck. Like, I'd have no idea what I'd do. But the fact that I'm on Liquid Luck would make it work, which is kind of scary to think about. We also get to see drunk Hagrid, which is an experience in itself. And what makes me laugh is the fact that they give Aragog an Irish trio. They said few words, really nice, whatever, and then they just get drunk right after. I love my culture. It's really after the Liquid Luck part I start getting... It's really after the Liquid Luck part of the movie where I start getting bored. Like, I don't know what it is. I just kind of begin to drop off at this point. I don't like the cave sequence. I find it kind of boring, and I feel like a lot of people would disagree with me about that, but I said what I said. I know Draco is a dickhead, but I really feel bad for him in this movie. Like, he goes through so much. He's literally ordered to kill his headmaster, who was there since the first day he was at Hogwarts, and he's only 16. He's only 16 in this movie. Like, if I was in that situation, I'm thinking back to when I was 16, I wouldn't be able to do it. Like, there's just no conceivable way that I could have done that. And it's just so sad to think about. He's just a kid. He's just a boy, as they say in the movie. Dumbledore's farewell is really sad. Like, I know I don't like Dumbledore, but just seeing Harry... Oh my fucking god! Dumbledore's farewell is just really sad. Like, I know I don't like him, but just his death scene is really, really sad. Like, I tear up. I like recently enough I actually started tearing up at it. Like, I think it's just the music that's playing, just seeing how sad everyone else is and just seeing them just raise their wands together. It's just like, no. Oh, it just breaks a little bit of me every time. So before I watched this movie again, it was in the D tier. I did enjoy it a lot more this time up until the cave part of it, but so you know what? I think it's going to be bumped up to the C tier. Nearing the end of this franchise, we have Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1. Ooh, a two-parter, how exciting! It's because of these movies that every big trilogy that was coming to an end in this era was split into two parts, like Twilight and the Hunger Games, for example. I used to be bored by this movie, but I've come to enjoy it now. Once again, I will come out and say it, I am a firm believer that they should have kept in all the deleted scenes. Like, Dudley needed his redemption. It would have been so nice. It would have been really nice as well to see Petunia talking to Harry about how she lost his sister and how he didn't just lose his mother. Like, we need that. Please. Director's cut. They should have stayed in the movie. I don't care. Fight me. Voldemort is literally just Magic Hitler. and it's just funny seeing how backwards his views are. But it's also a little scary because there's people in the real world who actually think like that about other people, and it's just like, wow, that's really scary, that's unsettling. Why are people like this? Why can't everyone just get along? Draco's trauma in these last two movies is really not talked about enough. Like at the start of this movie, he watches as one of his teachers gets killed and eaten by a snake right in front of him, and it's so clear that he's so scared and then he doesn't want to be there anymore. Like, it fucks people up seeing things like that, and I just want to give him a hug. He deserves so much better. Speaking of people that deserve better, Fleur Delacour. Hear me out. In the books, Fleur is bullied and mocked by Molly and Ginny because she's really pretty and she's half, I don't know what the creature's called, but she's half whatever it is, which makes her like irresistible to men because she's so like beautiful. They make fun of her for being pretty and girly, and like, yes, she is a bit vain, but no one deserves that, and it doesn't give them the right to treat them the way that they do. That's pick-me behaviour, if you ask me. On a lighter note, everything the twins say in this movie makes me laugh. Oh god, whoopsie daisies. Oh no. On a lighter note, everything the twins say in this movie makes me laugh. Me and my boyfriend used to just always quote Harry Potter to each other, especially the twins lines, before we got together, and everyone would just be looking at us like, what the fuck are you talking about? What are you saying? Because they're not either into Harry Potter or they're just not as big as fans as we are. I think my favourite line is when they take the Apologies potion to turn into Harry just before the Battle of the Seven Potters, and then they just look at each other and go, wow, we're identical! It just really makes me laugh every time. It's just so goofy and funny. I love it. I really love the Battle of the Seven Potters. It really makes me sad when Hedwig gets killed. It hurt a lot more than normal when I watched it this time. Like, just the memory or the idea of you losing a childhood pet, it really hurts and it tears you apart, and honestly I wouldn't wish it on anyone, and just seeing Harry at that moment, it's just like, no. I need to stop before I start crying. I hate how Moody's death is just so overlooked. Like, they come back and it's literally just like, Mad Eye's dead. Where like in the book it's like 2 whole chapters of them grieving Harry getting drunk and yelling at everyone. But Mad Eye is such a good character. He deserves so much better, and I just hate how they just gloss over it in this movie. He should be done justice, you know? At least Bill and Fleur's wedding provides us with a little sense of happiness. We get to see Luna again and we meet her father. Honestly, if I didn't care about social cues or expectations, I would be exactly like Luna. I love when she says to her dad, like, come on Dad, Harry doesn't want to talk to us right now. He's just too polite to say so. She's just so sweet and she deserves so much better. And I hate the fact that she was captured and brought to Malfoy Manor, and the fact that she spent her birthday there on her own and she sang happy birthday to herself alone in the corner. I read too many headcanons and it just makes these movies so much harder to watch because it adds like so much more depth to them. There's a lot of moral grey areas in this movie. Like, Harry doesn't want to kill people, but they erase their memories, you know? I suppose it is a bit better than killing them, but at what cost? But I feel like at this point it's kill or be killed, but at least the killing curse doesn't hurt, you know? There's just so much grey area, so much moral ambiguity, like, I don't know. For me, I think it's kill or be killed, and it would give me a sense of okayness, I guess, that knowing it doesn't hurt. Not that I'd ever kill anyone. I better stop talking. Umbitch makes a return and she is worse than ever. Like, just the way she's treating the woman that's on trial, calling her a liar even though it's very clear that she's telling the truth. Harry's in the room when this is happening, and honestly, I would have done exactly what he done. And he's like, "You're lying, Professor, you must not tell lies." And he like stuns her, steals the locket, and just getting the fuck out of there. Honestly, this man has "I must not tell lies" scarred into his hand because of this woman. So you know what? Justice. Ron annoys me in like every film. In this one you could say his actions are justified because he was wearing the Horcrux all day, but I think he took it way too far when he said to Harry, he yells at Harry actually, that your parents are dead, you have no family. That was way out of line. If I was there, Ron better be ready to catch these fucking hands. This movie is just really sad as well. Like when Hermione and Harry go back to Godric's Hollow just to see if there's any Horcrux there, and they visit the graveyard and they realise it's Christmas Eve. It's just really sad because they've just been away for so long. They've been away from their loved ones so long. And then when they're at Harry's parents' grave, and they put a wreath down and they just tell each other Merry Christmas, it just hurts. Like, I actually started tearing up when I watched this the other day for this video. Like, wow. Side note, I really do love the scene where Harry and Hermione dance with each other. Like, people don't like it because they say it teases a romance. It really doesn't. Harry and Hermione think of each other as siblings. So like, it really does not tease a romance. And like, Harry just did it to make Hermione feel better because she was upset about Ron. Like a good friend would do. Like, they just started dancing together like really silly, really goofily, and it made her smile and it made her feel better. So it's just a really sweet scene, and I genuinely think it's needed. So I don't agree with people being like it teases a romance, because it really just doesn't. Anyways, back in Godric's Hollow, after that heartbreaking scene in the graveyard, we are met with a terrifying scene, because no one in this movie can ever be happy or at peace for 2 fucking minutes. They come across Nagini, who is disguised as an old woman. Nagini attacks them and they have to fight her off. It's just horrifying. Like, we get jump scared by this giant fucking snake. It's awful. Like, I didn't realize this was a fucking Halloween movie. Spooky! Still on the kind of spooky note, we are told the tale of the 3 brothers and the Deathly Hallows. The animation during this sequence is amazing. It's beautiful. I love it so much. It just like works so well in the movie. But it is like, some of the images that we see are really dark. Like, we literally see the second brother hanging himself. So yeah, it is still kind of dark and spooky. Trigger warning, I'll put it in a minute. I'll put it in before this, but it just is really dark. And we are shown the symbol of the Deathly Hallows and how it came to be. I love the symbol of the Deathly Hallows so much, but too bad it's been ruined by millennials, because now they have really cringy tattoos on their body of it. They just took it and chucked it on every single bit of piece of merch with the word always, which also ruined that quote. It was one of my favourite quotes of this like whole franchise, but nope, it's ruined, the symbol's ruined. This is why we can't have nice things. I know I said I didn't like Dobby, but I really do love him in this movie, and it really made me sad when Bellatrix killed him. Like, it really made me sad at the end of this movie. I actually started tearing up. It's just so sad when he says, "Such a beautiful place to be with friends." Like, no, Dobby, no! No! Like, the little grave they gave him and everything. Oh no. This franchise just loves causing me pain. Anyways, in the past, this movie was an A tier, and I think it should stay there because I enjoyed it. And I think it's a great part 1 to a 2-parter. And I'm kind of happy I didn't have to wait a whole year when this like movie came out for part 2 because I didn't really care for it because I didn't like the later movies like that much, so I didn't even see it in cinema or anything. So I'm kind of happy that I didn't have to go through it waiting. But if I had my love for Harry Potter now, back then, I would have simply passed away. I would not have been able to wait. And now for the final movie in this franchise, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. Now, I'm not going to lie to you guys, I kind of forgot to take notes when I was watching this movie because I was just so like invested in the movie. I just couldn't take my phone out and take notes on my phone, so I'm going to do my best to talk about this movie from memory. So forgive me if it seems a bit scattered or sparse, but bear with me, okay? I just really didn't want to break my concentration when I was watching this movie. This movie is amazing. I love absolutely everything about it. It's such an iconic end to like one of the most iconic film franchises of the early 2000s, 2010s, whatever, you know what I mean. The whole Gringotts sequence had me on the edge of my seat the whole time. The acting's incredible. Like, you have Helena Bonham Carter playing Emma Watson, playing Helena Bonham Carter. It's just like, wow, like she just does it so fucking well, and fair fucks to her because that definitely cannot be easy. It's like, it's just done amazingly, and she just did it really well. I genuinely wanted to smack Griphook for abandoning them in the vault, and how they tortured the dragon to expect pain like every time he hears that certain noise or whatever. The dragon did not deserve that in the slightest. And honestly, thank God they freed the dragon. And I will say, actually, I really like how Voldemort had a Horcrux with something to do with each of the houses. Like, there's Hufflepuff's cuff, the diadem from Ravenclaw, there's the Gaunt Ring, and the only one he didn't have was one for Gryffindor, and the Gryffindor artifact that he probably would have used as a Horcrux is the thing that destroys them. I don't know, it's kind of like poetic, I guess. I love the moment when they go back into Hogwarts and the main theme plays. Like, it gives me such chills and it makes me so happy. It's like, yes, I am home. It was also really hype when Harry revealed himself to Snape, and then the Order comes in behind him and he gives out them for like killing Dumbledore. And then McGonagall steps in front of Harry to protect him, and then like McGonagall and Snape start dueling. And then I love how Snape didn't actually cast any spells at McGonagall. He just deflected everything and he hit the Carrows behind him just so he could escape. It was just, I love him. McGonagall takes back the castle, makes it right again, gets to use the spell that she always wanted to use to make the statues move and protect the school. Oh my god, just everything. It just makes me so happy. The whole Battle of Hogwarts is just incredible. The music is so good visually, it looks incredible, especially when a track Courtyard Apocalypse plays. It just gives me chills. I love it so much. I also love the scene where they have to destroy the diadem. When they're in the room with Requirement, Goyle sets the fucking place on fire. It's so tense, they're trying to escape. They get on the broomsticks, they get out, but then they go back to save Draco and Blaise. They fucking get them out, they save them. They stab the diadem with the Basilisk fan and they kick it into the fucking fire, and it's just like, it just looks so cool and it's so fucking tense. Something I realised when I was watching is actually really sad. We see Lavenders after being killed by Greyback, and Hermione stuns him to get him away from the body and whatnot, and we just see Lavender lying there lifeless. It's really sad to think about it because Lavender died without anyone loving her back. She died still in love with Ron. She never found anyone to love her as much as she loved him, and it's just, it's heartbreaking when you think about it. And why does this franchise love bringing me comfort and pain? I hate it. I don't think I'll ever get over Fred Weasley's death either. Like, I've read too many headcanons of what happened afterwards, and it just makes his death so much harder on me. I can't. It just makes it so much harder for me. I personally blame Percy for his death. I will never like him. It should have been Percy who died. Dickhead. I said what I said. Speaking of sad things, Snape's memories. The first time I watched this movie in a long time, I was in fucking hysterics when it came to that part. I could not be consoled. I was bawling my eyes out. Just the way the whole sequence was shot, the music that was playing, I just couldn't do it. That time I watched it, I was nearly crying for the rest of the movie, and the Resurrection Stone bit right after was not helping. Just hearing Lily Potter say, "We never left," and then James being like, and just James Potter saying that they'll be with him until the end. That was the point where I flatlined, alright? I couldn't fucking do it anymore. And not to mention, Harry went to Sirius to ask him, does dying hurt? Instead of his own father. Like, ow, no, don't do me like that. I just want to say I hate Dumbledore for just using Harry. Like, I hate the fact that he brought him up for like a pig for the slaughter. It just, oh no. And just the way he turns to Snape and is like, what will you give me in return? As if Snape didn't just spill his fucking guts and tell him Voldemort's plan in the first place. Like, fuck you. On the bright side, Voldemort adding a lot of extra vowels to the Avada Kedavra when he kills Harry kind of calmed me down and made me giggle a bit. So I am once again saying that all the deleted scenes should have been kept. Draco deserves his redemption. That should have been in the movie. We should have seen the scene where Draco throws his wand to Harry, and like, we needed it. I don't know why they cut out that like really important moment. Instead, we just see the Malfoys leave after Draco getting that really awkward hug from Voldemort. Like, come on. The CGI for the final battle when like Harry and Voldemort end up apparating together and like it's like they're morphing into each other and it looks really weird. It just hasn't aged well. Like, they tried to do too much for the time and it just doesn't look good. I'm sorry, it just really has not aged well. The final showdown was fine. It was exactly what you'd expect, although I wasn't expecting Voldemort dead skin cells to be floating around the gaff, but whatever. I don't know about you guys, but if I had the Elder Wand, I would have kept it. I want it fair and square. I wouldn't have broken it and thrown it off a cliff. Like, no, I don't want to buy a new wand. This one's mine now. But that being said, I love the music that plays during that scene. It's just really nice and it just suits it really well. I really like the 19 years later time jump, but they do Draco so dirty in the makeup department to make them look older. He just has not aged well at all. Same with Ginny. Like, she looks like she hasn't slept in about 3 years. It's just, come on. They could have done them less dirty than that. I also don't agree with what Harry named his second son. Like, Albus Severus Potter, I don't know. Literally name him after anyone else, just not those two. No. But it was such a perfect end to all 8 of these movies. Hearing leaving Hogwarts as the camera focuses on the golden trio as their kids are going off to Hogwarts. Chills and tears every time. I love it. I think it's safe to say that my ranking for this movie is an S tier, same as it was before. So my ranking hasn't changed. Yay! So let's take a look at the final tier list, shall we? there you have it. I hope you guys enjoyed coming on this little adventure of me going through all the Harry Potter movies. Let me know if you agree or disagree with my possibly controversial takes. If you guys want to see more content like this, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to hit that bell button to be notified for the next time I decide to grace the internet with my presence again. I will see you guys really soon. Bye! Jesus Christ, there's gonna be so much like edited out. Nice. That's not going in.